This is one of the more interesting ones of the year. It's blooming in my yard. It's called Blue Mist Flower. It's really beautiful. I don't really know much about it, but my brother planted it, and it's blooming today. Today is September 12th, 2022. We also have some wood sorrel. You can eat that. Hi. Today is September 12th, 2022. It's not that I didn't want to put out an episode yesterday. It's that I have more than one channel, and this wasn't the appropriate channel to have my, more hyper-political ideas. Part of me wants to break into two channels, but the other part of me realizes that I actually don't even have one channel, and so rather than trying to do mitosis and potentially weaken myself and kill both selves, I should continue to try to propagate forward and evolve as a cohesive unit. The exception being the Pokemon. Like, gaming is not to be trifled with. Like, there's a difference between anonymity, right, and compartmentalization, and like information warfare, right? Like, I am going to very soon find myself on the other end of the spear, because I'm going to be standing on the other side of things. And in most ways, that's already been the case for, like, to be real honest with you, my whole life. Like, I know that sounds kind of cliche, but it's kind of true. It's the same way that, like, and I'm not being racist when I say this, but it's the same way that when, like, black people, they're kind of automatically on the other side of white people, because there just isn't enough of them for it to create enough of a plurality or equitative balance, unless it's in a very focused inner city where people have put a lot of mind into to melting potting that, so to speak. But so, let's not say black. Let's not use black and white. Let's use blue and red, right? I don't care which team represents which. But let's say for this example, red's the minority, right? The Horde versus the Alliance, so to speak. So there's this phenomenon where the scale of things becomes majorly important, maybe like paradigm, like the ultimate paradigm of importance. I want to build this object. I want to just totally derail whatever I was talking about, because I actually don't give a fuck about anything I was about to say, and I don't think you do either. I want to talk about the machine. There's two machines, right? There's one that you could, like, do DMT out of, that I want to build, but there's another one that is, well, it's a sex device. I don't want to build that one either. Then there's another one, but that one's a time travel device and it's fictional. So then there's another one called The Machine, but it's a bad movie and it isn't really worth watching. Then there's another one, and this is the one that I want, and it's going to be a screen with a bulletproof pane of reinforced glass in front of it, right? And then in front of that, a layer of very, very simple plexiglass, like the cheapest you could find, so that if someone comes at it with, like, a knife, a paintbrush, their coffee, then I can be like, no! And I can just get super dramatic about it, right? Just, melting, the machine, no! Right? Like, just absolute ridiculousness. But the point is actually going to be that the reason they don't like the machine is because the machine is just a mirror. More than it's a mirror, it's a complex digital mirror. It's actually not a mirror at all. It's a TV screen, and the TV screen is not a reflection. It's more terrifying. It's a screen that says you are being recorded, and they can see themselves, right? And I can hide it, right? So that it's like this, like, sus machine. Like, we don't know if it's a bomb. Like, let me see your fucking hands. Let me see your fucking hands. Get on the ground. Okay, I'm on the ground, officer. We don't know what's in that. How the fuck are we supposed to know what's in that? It's like, well, you could spy on me, right? You could. There's a grasshopper trying to get killed. Stop trying to commit suicide. Stupid grasshopper. So it's like, it's sus to be talking about bombs in an airport, by the way. It's very sus. What's up, NSA daddy? Like NSA Daddy has joined the chat. Hi. Hi, NSA Daddy. Woo-hoo. So, right, like you get proned out. That's what they call it. So they prone you out. They put you in a submissive position. They handcuff you. At that point, you don't exist, right? The system is eating you, and they're keeping people safe. Now the question is, was the monster supposed to eat you? Did it have justification to eat you? Should it have known that it did not have justification to eat you? Right? Was it well posted? Or is it this like a gray zone where like, bro, you put yourself between its teeth? Yes, we trained it not to bite down, but my friend, it's a giant fucking rock monster, right? Oh no, you're gonna sue our golem because the golem killed your wife. Bro, your wife sat down on its teeth. I'm sorry. It's not like, listen, sometimes the monster just eats things it shouldn't. It just rips the roof off, it picks you up, it puts you in its mouth, and it swallows you whole, or it chews you just because it wants to be mean to you because it's in a bad mood. We can't control it, right? But we can control it on a level that matters. It's on our team. Just because every once in a while this thing goes a little bit out of control and maybe like accidentally hits the wrong target, right? Like, okay, fine, but the beast still exists. It's a giant rock golem. That's how the police behave. They behave as if they are rock. And they kind of are. They're it's a thin fucking blue line between chaos and peace. And people don't recognize that because they don't recognize what the war side of it looks like. They recognize the abuse, certainly, when it comes from the police against civilians. And that's disgusting, and it shouldn't be justified, and most good police officers don't justify that shitty behavior. The problem is that, yeah, it's a giant golem. What are you gonna do about it? Like the Roman army, right? The most trained legions, the most prestigious generals, the most tactical, well thought out, disciplined men in history, right? That's the propaganda, at least in the push. But let me tell you something. How many of those men escaped, got drunk, raped a woman, and were never held accountable and made it a norm, right? I can't tell you the answer to that any more than I can tell you. You can't FOIA that information. It's private. They do everything they can to keep stuff like that taken care of extrajudicially, right? With as limited electronic trail as is possible. Because it isn't about the courts anymore. It's about the surveillance networks. It's about the knowledge. It's about the fucking, like, I don't care whether or not that it's admissible in evidence, right? I care that your license plate got rang, right? It's objective. We saw you drive across the bridge. We have a fucking picture of you. Oh, I'm not the East Area rapist. I wasn't there that night. But yes, you were. You're on 16 different Ring cameras. You're on 4 different dash cams. We have you leaving your house at this time. We have you arriving back at your house at that time. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't know I was being recorded. Bro, you brought your cell phone to the victim's house, right? Because you thought that it'd give you power because you were making calls, right? East Area Rapist couldn't. You couldn't do East Area Rapist. You couldn't do East Area Rapist in this year. You just couldn't. You couldn't. You could hit it in. You could do it in the places that are like least policed in the world, that are like the scariest to go into and investigate. That just like, yeah, maybe some people that come out of that community stay kind of within that community and do turn to the side of the shield and the badge and the courts, and they try to use the system to exact change, or they're just a power monger themselves, right? Oh, guess what? Surprise, the East Area Rapist was a cop, and that's why I'm using him as an example. Why are you just randomly using examples, Sarah? Well, sometimes there's actually a sharp focus to the edge of a discussion point, and again, I'm about to find myself on the other end of that, right? I'm not about to go ever even break the law. I'm not out here trying to make political change with bomb threats or crazy shit like that. I'm out here trying to hold the system that holds the people who do that shit accountable. Now, why would you want to do that unless you're against us? It's like, because sometimes it gets out of hand and it's against the wrong people, right? There's a level of spiritual corruption that has always been present in every era, and probably most every single tribe for as long as since apes were able to form little cliques. The complexity of those differences and the complexity of those games that can be played has only increased to the point where, I mean, like, oh, you thought it was just about who said what on Facebook. That's cute, but like, there's men with helicopters outside that don't care about what you're actually arguing. right? What you're actually arguing doesn't actually take the system apart or threaten it in any mechanical way that we have to give considerance to. Oh no, I don't like that I have to work 10 hours a day. Yeah, neither does anybody else, right? That's not something that we can fix. I mean, without complete destruction of the system. Right, so says the system. So how do you reform the system without completely tipping that over, right? So if I'm not going to advocate for that black bloc style, tanky style, right? But I take away the consideration of like, well, who should I vote for? Democracy works and is a totally great meme. I wanted Hillary Clinton, I just didn't get my way that time. I wanted Bernie before that, but man, they just won't let me get my way. But man, if my guy got his way, everything would be different. Right? The only thing that I see making things different is the courts and the people who trust in the courts. Right? At some level, there is accountability, and in some places, increasingly, there is no accountability. We're in this balance between this era that doesn't exist anymore because this cell phone has just completely and utterly replaced it. It's kind of like pretending that the era before the gun didn't exist before, right? Just, it's like, they exist, right? It's the same thing with these cell phones now. They exist. There's nothing anybody can do to stop that. I mean, well, let me tell you, there are absolutely people out there that are not only in power, but probably have that plan in mind. And they're perfectly well capable of it, and actually they may probably well succeed, right? It'll be illegal to not give your social security number, your fingerprint, your iris scan, right? To get into your phone every single time you unlock it. And that's if you apply for a permit to get a phone, the same way that you have to apply for a permit to carry a weapon, right? Because these things right now are viewed as civilian toys, right? Because people still use them mostly the consideration of being a civilian toy. And if we're going to restrict the technology itself down to a toy, which we do, ostensibly, at least in terms of the marketeering behind it, but it doesn't actually stop the capability. There's nothing unlawful about public surveillance, right? Now, there are some laws that does to some extent outlaw high levels of intelligence gathering because it starts to be, but it's a constitutional question, right? But more than it's a constitutional question, in my opinion, is like you actually have to throw out the Constitution. And I'm not saying that we should do that. I don't believe in that and I don't advocate that for it. But it's just like, the Constitution doesn't matter. The rules of the governing game at that level don't matter. The same way that like the Chinese also have this apparatus. Right now, pretty soon, like, so will every country. Actually, it's been that way. They're just now catching up. They don't have a cultural zeitgeist of it. They didn't create the thing, right? It's a new religion. More than that, it's a new way of operating that there's no deterministic outcome that can be measured into the future if you don't have the knowledge. So it's like, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I can only tell you where the power threat is, and it's standing in my hand, dude. Right now, you can mitigate that threat by turning me off. Personally, Chinese authority, completely, like I said, you don't have to worry about the Constitution. The Chinese authority, if they don't want me talking in China, they flip a switch. Boom, I'm banned. Sorry, you're banned. Actually, worse than that, doesn't even tell you you're banned. It just says, you need a new token. That's just what it'll say. Like, you need a new token, and then it'll just be like, or it'll be like an endless loading. It's called shadow banning, right? It's like banned, but why the fuck are they gonna tell the guy that he's banned? You just don't have. You can bang on the walls. Hey, who the fuck do I talk to? This is bullshit. You can't do this to me. This is bullshit. Okay, good, buddy, great. And if you really, really want to go COINTELPRO about it, you can shut down the people around them, right? They do this to activist groups. They do this to religious sects. They do this to basically anyone that becomes a true power threat outside of their own teeny little bubble of about $600,000 worth of income source disruption. The biggest that they could blow up, if they wanted to, would be like, well, I don't know. I'm not planning. I don't know. It's like, it's a very different game to try to plan 9/11 in today's era, right? And I bring up 9/11 because it happened yesterday, not because I'm planning anything, right? The only plans I have are to do the same thing that prosecutors do. I just want to hold that side of things more accountable, at least to its own words, so that if it's going to be honest, it should just be honest. Right? And technology gives me the means to do that in a way that no other era has ever had before. And it doesn't equalize the playing field at all, but it's certainly more powerful, right? It's as powerful, in my belief, as the gun on the battlefield. I truly believe that. I truly believe that it in some ways, insidiously and in a slow kind of river of a way, is actually more powerful than that. And I think that that was true up and until high power armaments and machine guns were introduced to the battlefield, at which point it became a different type of like cellular life energy can now be like how much damage can one man do? I want to write a movie about that. That's like a dangerous fucking movie to write. Like, how much damage can one man do? And then you see like explosions in the background, right? Like, that's what the Die Hard movies is all about. Like, how do you escalate it to like the grand scale of things? Like, what's the most believable level that, or where can you suspend belief, right, for the movie? But in real life, it's a lot more difficult than that, and the pain is a lot more real, obviously, than it is in the movies. It's why we represent it in movies and often don't play it out, right? Like, we're in a world that really scares me in terms of its function and its dysfunction. We'll be back. Special day today here at the Shaker Heritage site, because look at this. We got castor bean plant, and it's in basically full bloom right now. And just what a ridiculous plant these are. They you know, all the way down here and stuff. It's just ridiculous. And this whole plant grew in this year we've been filming it. And it's like how high it is, like as high as the fence now. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And you can go read up on this plant on Wikipedia, and then you will also probably see a section about in fiction and in media, and then it'll be Breaking Bad. It's so bright out. Seriously, it's actually like it's like that. Ridiculous. Today is 13th of September. Maybe the last really hot summer day. Tomorrow the thunderstorm comes, and that'll probably be it for the summer. If that's a cold front, like I suspect that it is, it's gonna be beautiful, but it's gonna be the end of the summer. And with the start of fall, we are now past the full moon. We are very, very close to the new year. I think it's only 2 days to the 5 extra days, and then the 5 extra days, when those end, then it's the start of a new year. And actually, those 5 days are not part of the year. They are celebratory days that are they're very witchy. I'm filming the swallows, as you can see. They're eating above my head, swooping around. Yeah, they're having a lot of fun. I hope I don't get pooped on. I did bring my hat today. It's been a really good day. I've had a lot of extremely violent, intrusive thoughts today. I've been getting the runaround from some people who I will not mention further. And yeah, suffice it to say that I need to stop getting the runaround. And when you know that you're getting a runaround, it's almost more frustrating, because it's like, you know, it means that they're going to go as slow as possible. And then it just means that things aren't going to get done. And it sucks, because it means that the minimal amount of making the gear like right, and that may even come in a court has to decide to force that gear to move, and even then it's a battle, right? And it's even more frustrating when that's like a healthcare provider, because then it's like they're just not providing for you, and then it's like, ugh, right? Like, you can't force them to lawfully, can you? And here's the thing: if you have to, do you really think that they're going to do above and beyond what is absolutely demanded of them? And you don't think that they're going to put the little blue Care Bear sticker on it? Oh, that means that you're one of our extra care people, and then you're screwed, because they call it the snotty little bitch sticker when you leave, because they know you can't prove that in court. And once you get that sticker, right, and it doesn't have to be a blue bear, that's not the point. They can call it whatever they want, and it doesn't have to be a sticker. It can be a little Sharpie mark. It can be any kind of thing that lets the staff know behind closed doors, don't fuck with this person, right? This person is a thorn in our side, and has been a thorn in our side since our policies changed and they didn't like it. And it's like, from my perspective, it isn't just that I didn't like it, it's that it's fundamentally fucking unacceptable, and the fact that they're even trying to push it as a policy is degenerative, and I would say even possibly, and I gotta be careful with my words here, because there could be some things involved. I think it could be prejudicial. So on that note, I will close off this segment. Thanks for joining me today. We'll talk about something else in a moment. The birds you're seeing, this is the Shaker Heritage Site. Today's September 13th, 2022. It's like 5 o'clock, and these birds that you're seeing, these are swallows. And they're swooping around eating whatever that they are eating. I assume some type of bug that is doing some sort of mating ritual and getting picked off pretty efficiently. Because they are feasting, man. They are absolutely feasting. And normally they wouldn't even be flying in this much direct sunlight, I don't think, but I could be completely wrong on that. I usually, maybe they do actually, now that I think about it. I'm just usually standing in the shade because, I don't know, it just seems like unusual behavior. I've never seen this many of them either. I wonder if they are like partially migratory. I don't know enough about them to give you facts. These are just like my thoughts, because like I said, I've seen them here before, but I've never seen even half this many, and I've never seen them go in this ape. Or ham. One is like an allusion to the power of an ape, like, and then the other is an acronym for hard as a motherfucker. So you could use either of those, and then you will sound like a millennial who does not keep up with Gen Z's lingo. I still say dope. Like, yo, that's lit. Dope. Sick. Bruh. Got a bunch of those. Pardon the vernacular. Holy cow. Holy cannolis. Holy shnikes. Oh my goodness. Dip dop doodly squat. Look at these things. That is ridiculous. If you're wondering what's over here, the answer is sunlight. A lot of it. That's probably purple loosestrife. Yeah, it is. Asparagus. That's what that is. Oh, wow, some more birds. Dang, I missed the filming. I was looking at the asparagus. I was going to do my editing today, but then that didn't happen. They seem to have moved. But perhaps not. This really probably will be the last summer day today. Part of me is kind of really excited for that, but the other part of me is just like really nervous, you know? Because I'm just like, I'm very in summer mode by now. It took me a little while to warm up and grow with the season, but, you know, it's like, I'm feeling like it's June right now, but it's September. And, you know, I'm not sure I'm ready for the season to change so quick, because I know how quick it goes. Like, I see it starting. And that's how I feel this year. I feel like I'm about to change rapidly, right? Like, the whole year was growth, and now we see what I will become. And I'm pretty fascinated by that process. But I know I'm in for a lot of change and a lot of hardship and a lot of heartache and a lot of emotional turmoil and maybe a lot of life narrative changes. And I'm really nervous and really scared because I've never really broken my routine, and when I do, I get overwhelmed. Oh my goodness, that dude was the Japanese Empire circa 1944. Or was it 1942? 1943? I don't know, I don't remember, but within that, you know, loose range. It's funny, as time goes on more and more, the very nuanced specifics of those years kind of fades into obscurity of just like, does it really matter? Like, if you're a historian, certainly, yes, it does. I don't really fancy myself a historian, but, you know, it's just like, I can meme about it, but I can only meme about it imprecisely. Like, I think that that's a result of my own lack of knowledge, but also just like kind of there's a different cadence that you can just strike a tone with about certain things now, because it's just been long enough that, like, yeah, it might be rude to joke about it, for example, but it wouldn't necessarily be like, whoa, sacrilege. This is the most intense display of nature I've seen all year by far. This is incredible. I may have to call my partner really quick and stop filming for a bit to show them live, because I want to share this moment with them. And I think I've filmed just enough, you know, to make it like we've got the footage. Let me zoom in a little bit, see if it helps or hinders. It doesn't seem to have too much of an effect. You can follow them a little better, maybe. Wow, I mean, it's just like, there's just so many of them. Maybe like 30 of them, maybe more, I really don't know. There's probably about 30 of them if I had to guess in this whole region. Maybe more, yeah, though. Maybe like 30 or 40, 50. We're here, and I found this, which is, if I had to guess, it's the start of a new walking path, maybe. You know, like something a little more obvious. Maybe a new crosswalk of some variety. And you know, there's a good amount of traffic here, so it's not a bad place to cross. Like, honestly, you know, when I was talking about what we needed, I was talking about we needed a crosswalk. I was talking about over there. And it looks like they'll probably end up doing that. So that's pretty cool. I didn't even think of this. This is quite the good idea. Maybe they'll drill right through that fence perhaps, or maybe they won't. But either way, if they put a crosswalk here, it'll definitely make it more known that this is, like, you know, a pedestrian way. And it's so simple. It's just, you know, this seems like a draft version of it. It's like, because where does it go, you know? It's like nowhere right now. But actually, yeah, I mean, this whole property where the Diamond Dog Stadium, I think, used to be, or whatever. It's crazy. Or you could try to throw an extra gear in the system, like, oh, we couldn't make it this time. Oh, we could just do it the next time, you know? Oh, Homeland Security went past me. That's fucking scary. For every Homeland Security car you see, there's 4 you don't see. Sup, NSA, DHS daddy. Ooh, the War Department, ooh. Ooh, the Homeland Security Department? Homeland Security is one of the most frightening things, dude. They're authorized to do shit that they shouldn't be. Wow, look at this. Oh, fuck. Oh, bro. That's wild.